On data, we do get, since we do give 3 and 6 weeks tests, we have data dialogues every 3 to 6 weeks. So
Based-
every 3 weeks
A data dialogue based on the results of that
of
assessment?
that assessment. Yes, sir.
Okay. Who is present during that data dialogue?
I am usually on 3 weeks because that's a little bit of a smaller assessment. It's still 15 questions, but it's not over as much material. Generally, I run the data dialogue conversation as well as the other team members for that particular subject,
Okay.
because CORE is the only one who does it. Miss Mott comes in every 6 weeks
Okay.
and sits down and has that conversation with them as well.
Okay.
So she's there the majority of the time
Okay,
to help run those and to listen to conversations.
okay,
But really, the teachers drive that conversation.
okay,
I'll ask questions and say, hey, what do you notice? What are you seeing? What are you struggling? What's your successes? But overall, they jump in and they run the whole thing.
okay.
So
What's expected of me as a teacher to bring to that data dialogue session?
okay, there is we call it the purple sheet. It is a data dialogue sheet. There's an example of it at the bottom. Really, it's looking at each, and it goes to the back as well. It's looking at your sub-pops, how well each of the class periods performed, a TEKS analysis
So I need to have this filled out when I come.
when you come, and then on the back some questions to start thinking of. It's not necessarily a right or wrong. Sometimes the questions on the back they fill in as we discuss because they weren't quite sure where to go with it.
Okay,
In addition to that, teachers are required to bring a test,
an actual test.
an actual test. If a class performed lower than 80%,
Yes,
they will fill out a test for each class period as far as right and wrong percentages for
okay, so they're
each
putting,
question.
they're putting the right question and the
A
percentage. But the way that y'all do that here is they're only if I scored lower, if my class scored lower than 80. So it gives me an incentive then.
Gives me some
If it's
incentive.
80 or above, I could still do this. and
Yes.
Probably some of them do.
They do, yes.
Okay, but I don't have to.
Nope.
So you're rewarding me just kind of like you do in the kid.
Just for, yeah, sometimes
Okay.
that helps too.
Okay.
So they are required to bring this to them. So when we do have those conversations and start doing question analysis, they can have that conversation and be prepared
Okay,
to talk about that. In addition to that, I like the things that I will bring to them is this right here, where it shows every 3 weeks assessment, how each teacher does based upon our 80% and 20% goal.
okay,
So for example, this is 7th grade math. In order to reach satisfactory, which it's changed, they have to make a 44%. In order to reach level 2, they have to 63, and to be advanced, they have to make an 81.
okay. So you're looking at a percentage in each one of those?
In each
Okay.
one of those, I do have it coded as well. If it's a yellow code that says, you know what, you're kind of banking around where we did in STAR last year. There's no growth. It's not up. It's not down. It's just really you're leveled. If we have a green arrow that says, hey, you've gone up above that 80%, a red means we have gone down below what we've even did on STAR last year.
Okay.
And so that's telling us where we're going. It tracks by teacher, so they can see how their kids are performing compared to
Okay.
everybody else.
Okay,
In addition to that, we do look at sub-pops and TEKS by teacher.
by teacher?
So it's all by teacher, and they're TEKS by teacher.
Okay. And this is all done during the data dialogue
Yes, sir.
and discussed? Okay,
Then we continue to look at, even though they have done it looked at questions by class,
right,
this lets us kind of know, I look at
Kind of
overhaul St.
trends.
Houston and trends, you know what? You did, 80%, I did 20%. Well, how
Right.
did you teach that?
Right.
And that drives some conversations on
Okay.
instruction.
okay. Is there a specific, once this data dialogue is concluded, is there a specific action plan? Or just, are we just kind of talking that out about how we're going to change our instruction, or do you have a document or anything for that?
You know, we don't have a technical document. We
Okay.
do have a now what. I generally,
what?
yeah,
Okay.
I say, you know, what are we going to do now?
Right.
And then once we come back and say, okay, I see that, how did that work? And what was the implementation? And so during that planning process
Mm-hmm.
in the following weeks, we look at that now what and say, what are we doing now? Is that
Okay.
matching what we discussed in our data dialogue?
Now, I noticed that students are on here too, that says students track their progress with each 3 and 6 weeks test, as you showed me a while ago.
Yes.
But it also says students analyze incorrect responses.
They
Tell me
do.
about that.
Whenever they go over tests, you know, instead of a teacher just getting up and saying, here's the test, question A is this, question, you know, they have to go through and look at, okay, we know the answer's A. So tell me why now, I want you to prove to me that B, C, and D are wrong. And explain, you know, that's a lot of that, that dialogue between students and.
So this would be done in class
in
as a
class.
whole class?
In whole class, it's done really in group work more.
In group work,
Yes,
okay.
and so where students can work with a partner.
Okay. So
And-
they have the test in hand, they're analyzing that?
Yes.
So they analyze their test that way?
So a
Okay.
lot of it would look more like kind of how what we did in, you know, PLC collaboration,
Right.
where it's the students doing the exact same thing we are as
Okay.
adults are supposed to do.